On today's show, how often should you be playing your hometown?
We're going to find out. Cue title sequence.
30-minute music marketing for musicians who want to get better at marketing their music.
Hello, I'm Sheldon.
Hi, I'm Greg.
And this is 30-Minute Music Marketing, the show for independent artists and DIY musicians who want to get better at marketing their music. That's you. You want to get better at marketing your music. So thanks for listening to this. If you're listening to it on a podcast on Spotify or Anchor or Apple Podcasts, as they call it these days, or you could be watching it on Facebook Live or the YouTubes even. So many ways to consume our content. Sorry, I'm not giving you an opportunity to speak here.
I'm just listening in awe.
You're just listening. It's like the people at home. So today's episode is a deep dive. That's where we take one particular aspect of the music industry and drill down using a dowling. Is that what they're called? Dowling?
Possibly.
Drill bit type thing, and see what music oil spurts out of the ground. I'm rambling here, can't you tell? But what we're going to look at today is the topic of hometown gigs, the frequency therein. How often should you play your hometown / region before you exhaust the oil well of opportunity? I'm using too many metaphors.
To be honest, we could finish this deep dive in about 3 seconds.
No, we can't. We need to explore.
But I realise we need to explain and explore. So
what we're going to do really is we're going to have an imaginary band that's maybe just starting out. They've just formed.
Are they going to be really an imaginary band?
Yes, they're going to be really an imaginary band. I'm going to imagine that the viewer at home is just setting out on their musical career and they're going on a journey, and maybe we will join them on this journey and we will see how many times they should be playing their local area, maybe as they progress through their journey.
Can we just define what a local area is?
Well, to be perfectly honest, that could depend on where you're sort of watching. In the UK, I would suggest that most people will be based in small-sized towns.
Okay.
And then what generally happens is you play your local town to begin with, and then maybe you move to an adjacent city
or town,
maybe a larger town further up from where you are. Now, we're based in sunny St Helens in the United Kingdom, and we are equidistant between Manchester and Liverpool. So that's once as a St Helens band, once you've conquered the local area, and then maybe you might go to small adjacent towns such as Warrington, perhaps Widnes, and then you might sort of deviate out and head towards the big smokes of the two big cities of Manchester and sort of Liverpool as you progress and hopefully gain a larger and larger audience along the way. So let's go back to the beginning.
So we're
just starting out. We're in sunny St Helens. Somebody has to be ourselves. So you've just sort of started. Greg, how often should you be playing in the local area? Thank you for your answer there, Greg. It was perfectly wonderful. Well, maybe let's sort of...
Oh my God, you didn't give me a chance. How often should you... I don't believe you should play it very often at all. I think you should, because maybe once every... I wouldn't do it more than once every 6 weeks.
Perhaps once every 6 to 8 weeks is about right, I would say. Right, the simple reason that if you're starting out, the sort of gigs that you're likely to be playing is that you'll be an act on a bill with maybe 2, more likely 3 other acts on the bill, and you're thinking, right, this is great. Not only do I have a gig I can play at, but I'll be playing in front of an audience of people who won't have seen me play before, thus potentially growing my audience. But what you generally tend to find is that the sort of bill that you'll be playing on, the audience will be comprised of the friends and families of all the other acts who are on the bill. And that's not for me to say that won't be specifically a quality music appreciative audience, but perhaps in some ways and to some degree, that audience will maybe have been press ganged into attending. You know, you've got tickets to sell, haven't you? It's like your mates at work, it's your the people you went to college with, or the people who might be at uni,
so you're
your mum and dad.
That most of the audience, if not all of the audience, are going to be people you know.
Not necessarily. Well, there'll be a certain percentage of people that you know, but maybe the intention is that, if I play in front of all these people, because I'm so great, all these people will instantly become my fans because they've gone to a gig, so therefore, ergo, they must be a music fan. However, it could well just be the mates and brothers of the band who are on before you. And what tends to happen is that as soon as the band who are on before you has finished playing, not only will they go, but they'll take all their audience with them.
Yep.
Been there, done that.
Seen that.
Bought the t-shirts. So maybe they aren't necessarily the best audience, but you know, there's needs must, and you've got to build up a stagecraft, as we were saying before, Greg. You do have to get some gigs under your belt, but you know, maybe it's not the most efficient way, certainly in this day and age, of trying to build up an audience in the real world. But as you go on throughout your career, hopefully you'll be releasing singles, you'll be creating all sorts of content, maybe you'll film some sort of performance in a facility such as this and get it multi-tracked, and then you've got a video performance that you can put on the internet and so on and so forth. And maybe what will happen is then you'll maybe move out into those other towns and hopefully the big sort of cities. So if you are a St Helens band and then you're maybe moving on to the next big city, Greg, how often would you say in terms of frequency of those sort of gigs? How many of those should you play a year, would you say, Greg?
Right. Answer your question. I reckon playing a city, I don't think you should play anything less than every 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months, I think, would be roundabout right, because anyone that you're asking to go into a city in terms of logistics and taking up it's a bit of an ask. So you can't be seen to be drawing from that well too often. And what I sometimes see with bands is that they'll play maybe the same city once every 4 to 6 weeks and think, that's probably going to be a great thing. But what happens is that if you're playing the same city again and again, that the people that you ask to come out to see you will probably realise that, hang on, these people are
every month
are doing this every month, so I won't come and see them this month. I'll see them next month instead. And what eventually happens is next month arrives and they'll go, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make it next month, definitely. And eventually they turn out, and they don't turn out, that's the thing. It turns out that they will never come to see you at all because there's this constantly appearing thing in their calendar, and there's no incentive.
There's no scarcity.
Scarcity provides value and demand. And obviously, at this particular point, I'm going to talk maybe about my particular outfit, my band. Talk about your band then. But so we've been going to the 12 years, and our modus operandi is that we will only ever play a town or city once per year. Sometimes only once every 2 years. The idea being that when we come to town or when we come to your city, it's very much an event that doesn't happen a lot of the time. So it's a big thing on the calendar. If you miss this gig, that's it. You're going to have to wait another 12 years, months, to come round again. 12 years, that would be good.
We have talked about this because I think certainly for you could probably play St Helens every week and still keep it going for quite a long time because of the demand.
Yeah.
But after that period of time, you will lose the demand considerably. So although short-term gains could be really good, the long-term gains are going to be. Yeah.
And I'm not expecting anybody who's just starting out to only adopt that same sort of policy. But as you become sort of more established, and you do want to be playing in as many different areas as possible, because we travel all around the country and we only have a limited amount of time available for gigs, so it suits us in that particular way. Plus as well, if you're only playing once per year per city. What that also does is it gives you a long lead-up time in order to try and sell tickets.
Well, that's the thing. If you're doing it like every month, how on earth are you going to effectively promote each gig that you're doing? Because you'll effectively be promoting the next gig after the gig you've just done.
So for each gig that my band does, we have an individual marketing campaign, which will start out as soon as the event goes on sale, and then we've got at least 4 months in terms of when the tickets go on sale to the actual show date, in order to try and raise awareness, trying to keep reminding people that the show is about to take place. And what I tend to think is that, and I work for a firm of concert and event promoters, is that people need time in order to logistically put certain events into their heads. If I was to try and spring Greg, do you fancy going to such and such a gig like next Saturday? It's like, oh no, I've got to need someone to mind the dog, and people don't like last minute arrangements. People like, no, right, well, if there's a gig in maybe sort of say 3 months' time, okay, right, I can plan ahead.
I think people need to do that. One question that people are going to be asking is, it's all well and good kind of saying about going and playing cities and stuff like that, but if you're just starting out, as the example started off, how do you keep yourself in the people's eye without playing your hometown every week?
Every single week. Well, the thing is that in this day and age, we have something called the internet, and we have social media. I don't know whether you've heard of this.
I've heard about it.
It's quite a new concept, and the technology that's now available to us in order to bring our music to the attention of other people. So one of the most efficient things you could probably be doing is using a service such as yourselves, not necessarily saying to you, but to find some way of recording a performance. It could be an acoustic performance, it could be at a facility such as this that's using multi-tracked audio, multiple cameras to create a live lounge style performance. Record that, put that on social media. You can pay to run those as adverts, bring your music to the attention of new people who haven't heard of you before, and you'll probably find that's a more effective way at building an audience.
Well, it's got to be easier to get people to press this on their phone than get off their arses and walk to a venue.
Did you just say arse?
As in ass, as in donkeys.
As in, right, okay, well, I'll let you off then.
It's just my Gloucestershire accent.
Oh, there we go, strange.
But it's got to be easier to do that than expecting people just to come to a venue. It's a lot of effort.
It is. So again, referring back to my band and our touring activities, what we're doing at the moment is, because we've recorded one festival appearance and 2 gigs in their entirety so far this year.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing more gig footage.
And we're going to, more festival footage.
Yeah.
So we're making the effort to record as many of our band's performances as possible, and once a week we will upload one of those songs to our social media page. The great thing about Instagram TV is that it now accepts full videos in landscape format. So you can fit a full performance or music video on Instagram. You can do the same on Facebook. You can do the same on YouTube, so people can get to see what you're like as performers. They can do all that from the comfort of their own homes. You can pay for people in the nearby towns to see that, try and build an online audience, and then when you do play in 3 or 4 months' time down the road, you've potentially got an audience that you can call to and just say, look, you've been watching us on the socials and what have you, come and see us in real life.
So will you do any footage from your rehearsal session on Saturday?
We've got enough footage.
But you probably would recommend doing that.
Yeah. So if we hadn't filmed two 2-hour gigs and a festival, we're rehearsing this Saturday, rehearsing some material for some festival sets that we're going to be doing. But that would have been an ideal opportunity. Yeah. So you've almost got to create these opportunities yourselves, and nowadays try not to think of a gig just as going performing in your nearby venue. A gig could be at a facility such as Greg's, whereby you're playing, the audio's being multi-tracked, it's being recorded on multiple cameras, and you get a performance video at the end of that. Think of that as a gig which you can put a little bit of a tickle of money behind and show people on social media and actually get people to see what you're doing.
I mean, you
in the comfort of their own homes.
And you could even do a gig in the comfort of your own home and just do like a cover or something. With
Yeah,
just an
each
acoustic
and every week,
Film it
acoustic
with your
guitar,
phone.
film it, get it out there.
So
Those are the gigs of the 21st century.
just looking at your notes, and I don't think you mentioned this so far.
Carry on.
You said that when you do go out gigging, to make each one a special event. What do you mean?
Yes. Right, so in terms of trying to make it special, we've themed our current tour. It has a specific theme. So if you don't come and see us on this tour, you won't get the benefits of these specific songs that we're doing based around this particular theme.
Right.
But if, like, for example, if it's coming up to, I don't know, the gig happens to be at the end of October, it could be some sort of Halloween theme. So you might be doing songs that are based around horror or spookiness or weirdness. Or you could say, right, for this particular gig, we're doing covers of Metallica or our favourite Queen covers amongst what we regularly do. So the more times you can make your shows a specific one-off event, unique that can't be missed, the more chance that you will have for people to come and see them, rather than I'll see them next time they're round.
And I suppose it goes back to the scarcity equals value.
Yes, if you're only doing something once, then it is scarce. It is more valuable than just another run-of-the-mill show.
Or your T-shirts are basically
limited
a
edition.
limited run,
Yeah.
because once they're gone, that's it. There's going to be no more of that particular design, and it obviously has created a demand because there's not many left of certain designs.
No.
So is that everything? For
I
today?
think that's about everything. Do you agree with us? Are there further questions you'd like us to answer?
Hit the notifications bell on YouTube.
Subscribe, stick the comments in, just let us know on our respective Facebook pages. I think next week we're going to be talking about marketing strategies and what you need to do day in, day out, and how you can plan out what you need to do to market your music. So that'll be interesting. I'll need to knock some notes up for that. Thanks very much for watching and listening to today's show. We will see you next time.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.